sugar and spice and everything nice. For all good things you have to pay the price.
That's Amos and Josh from Kenya, two of the most famous contestants from Tusker Project Fame Season 6. And they didn't win. Instead, the grand prize went to this guy, Hope Irakoze from Burundi.
The winner! Hope from Burundi is the winner of Tusker Project Fame Season 6!
And to be fair, he deserved it. But let's be honest, a lot of people expected a different outcome. But that wasn't even the saddest part. What really broke hearts, what still hurts fans to this day, it's the fact that this was the last season. The final time that you got to sit back, enjoy the performances, and argue about who deserved to win. If you grew up in East Africa in the late 2000s and early 2010s, you know what I'm talking about. Tusker Project Fame, or TPF, was the biggest reality show in the region. Every Sunday, people came together and watched their televisions, cheering for their favorite contestants. The show had everything: talented singers, drama, suspense, and those brutal judges, you know them, Judge Ian. It promised to take regular people and turn them into superstars. But did it really? I mean, sure, we got a few names like Amelina, Ruth Matete, Amos and Josh, but let's be real. Most contestants, they didn't exactly become household names. In fact, a lot of them just disappeared. Do you guys remember Ngangalito or even Hemedi? Where are they? So what really happened? How did a show this big just disappear? Let's talk about it.
I have a dream, I'm so to say.
Before we get into the mess, let's take a moment to appreciate what TPF actually was. When it started in 2006,
good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tusker Project Fame.
It wasn't just another talent show, it was history in the making. The first reality music competition of its kind in Kenya, setting a whole new standard for entertainment across East Africa. The show was sponsored by Tusker Lager, a product of East African Breweries Limited, or EABL. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about discovering talent. EABL had a bigger plan. They didn't just want another marketing campaign. They wanted something that could unite East Africa, while of course boosting sales of Tusker beer. And so, Tusker Project Fame was born. A competition designed to scout, nurture, and launch the next generation of musical superstars. It pulled in contestants from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, South Sudan, and later Burundi.
Welcome to Burundi!
It followed the same format as global giants like American Idol and Pop Idol, but with its own East African twist. Different cultures, languages, and musical styles blending into one big, chaotic, and entertaining experience. But here's something most people don't know. The mastermind behind TPF wasn't a music producer or a TV executive. It was this woman, Patricia Ithau, the then marketing director at EABL. She came up with this concept for one simple reason. Their product, Tusker beer, was struggling in the market. And to turn things around, she made TPF, a show designed to put the beer in the spotlight. It was a bold move, but it worked eventually, and the brand gained the attention it needed.
The challenge I was given by the board at the time, they sat down and they said, listen, Tusker, we have to make Tusker the #1 beer. How do we make Tusker a big #1 beer? Give us something that's going to make it a big iconic brand.
For contestants, this was a big opportunity. But the fact that they are being watched by millions of people across East Africa, that kind of exposure is almost impossible, especially for an upcoming artist. And the show itself had a big budget, high quality staging, lighting, and even the sound. Then there were celebrity guest appearances, established artists performing with contestants, mentoring them, and making the whole show or the whole thing feel real. But here's the question. Did TPF actually create stars, or was it just an illusion? The first season ran for over 2 months, ending in 2006. And just to give you an idea of how serious this was, the show had a massive budget of, just imagine, 100 million Kenyan shillings. That's a lot of money. But clearly, they put it to good use, the high production quality, crazy marketing, and of course, big prizes. From season 1 to season 4, the winner walked away with 5 million Kenyan shillings and a recording deal with Gallo Records. Then, from season 5 to season 6, the money stayed the same, but now the winner signed to another record label, Universal Music Group. But not just anyone could join TPF. You had to be at least 21 years old and actually be able to sing and perform, or at least sing and play an instrument. The auditions are probably the most entertaining part of the whole show.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, and then we wept when we remember Zion.
Thank you. No.
And the auditions were held in multiple countries. For instance, in Kenya, they would scout talent in different big towns like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and even Meru. But not everyone who showed up in the auditions actually could sing.
Kweli Musa uliponioa nilinono kama nguruwe ya Kariobangi.
Michael Jackson is right in Nairobi. Hey, Tusker Project fame.
Some people came in dressed as Michael Jackson, and not just one or two, but multiple Michael Jacksons. I don't know why people are so obsessed with Michael Jackson.
It was midnight. Something he was walking from the door.
It was 25th of June. Stuck in California. 2 p.m. I'm gone. Michael, now John, this is it. I gotta go now. John, I gotta go. I gotta go, John. Take it over now from here, John. I gotta go.
As Jajian would say, these contestants were pathetic. But even if they weren't the best singers, they definitely made the show 10 times funnier. Now, for those who actually had talent, if you impressed the judges,
Mama, mama, I love your do-ta.
you got shortlisted for the final selection. And if you made it past that, congratulations, you're officially in the academy. And the contestants went through 8 weeks of intense training at the Tusker Academy, learning vocal performance, stage presence, choreography, and getting mentorship from musical legends. Some of the biggest names involved were the late Acheng Abura, a musician, Joseph Hellon, a jazz artist, and Edwin Othiambo, a dance instructor. Every week, contestants performed live in front of the judges and, of course, the big audience. But it wasn't just the judges who had the say. The fans also had power to vote. Viewers could vote via SMS, and if a contestant didn't get enough votes, they were out of the competition. But here's what made this show different. It wasn't just about singing, it was also a reality show. Cameras were everywhere, capturing everything: rehearsals, training, personal drama, you name it. It had that Big Brother vibe, if you know what Big Brother is, where viewers could watch contestants' every move. It was dramatic, it was emotional, and honestly, it was addictive. For the winners, the PF was a life-changing experience. By the time season 1 wrapped up, it was obvious this wasn't just a show, it was an event. And the contestants, they became household names. To really get a clear picture of what I'm saying, let's take a quick dive into the contestants and major moments across each season. The very first winner of TPF was Valerie Kimani from Kenya.
The winner is Valerie.
She instantly became famous, proving that TPF had the power to change lives. But she wasn't the only one who left a mark. Linda Mudhama, Cedric Dambala, and Alvan Gatitu, the other finalists, also became stars.
Taxi driver, nikomboleshe gari, niende Nakuru, Nikamone, my baby Anna.
After the success of Season 1, TPF became a highly anticipated annual event across East Africa. So let's go to Season 2. Let's talk about it. Season 2 introduced another big name, Esther Nabasa from Uganda, who won the competition.
The winner of Tusker Project Fame is
Wendy from Kenya was the second runner-up and also gained recognition. But there was one contestant that stood out the most, Hemedi from Tanzania.
the light is gleaming and the world is too.
And not because of his talent, but because of the controversy. See, TPF had this format where contestants placed on probation could be saved by the public, teachers, or fellow contestants. Hemedi kept getting saved, even though many people felt that this guy was not that great in singing. This raised a lot of eyebrows, and we'll talk about it later in detail. Let's talk about Season 3. Season 3 was different because Rwanda officially joined the competition for the first time. And let's talk about the winner, Alpha from Rwanda.
And the winner is Alpha.
This was a historic moment because he became the first ever Rwandan to win TPF. Coming in second was Bernard Nganga, aka Ngangalito from Kenya, followed by Caroline Nabolime from Uganda. Alpha won 5 million and a recording deal with Gallo Records, but in later years, he called out the show organizers, claiming that they didn't keep their promise to the past winners and even himself, and we'll get into that later. Season 4 gave us another Ugandan winner, Davis.
Banduka moto nangai, baruka ngalima, bamikola basuka, bamimasimo mamboyi. Yeba!
Other top contestants included Amelina from Kenya and Peter Msechu from Tanzania. But if you're talking about memorable personalities in this season, we can't forget about K. Deng from South Sudan. His rap performances made him a fan favorite. He didn't make it to the finale, but his presence on the show was unforgettable. Now, if you followed TPF, you probably remember Season 5 more than the previous ones. The winner was Ruth Matete from Kenya. A strong voice made her stand out from the start. This wasn't just a win for her, it was a big moment for Kenyan music. Other finalists included Jackson Kalimba from Rwanda, Joe Irankunda from Burundi, and Doreen Mushiri from Kenya. But here's where Season 5 was different. The prize package was massive. Ruth Matete got 5 million as usual, and a 10 million recording deal with Universal Music Group. That's not all. This season introduced something new, a compilation album featuring the top 10 finalists. Basically, TPF was trying to push more contestants into the industry, not just the winner. Sponsorships were also on another level in this season. There was Tusker, Universal Music Group, and Samsung, and even more sponsors, offering cash prizes, recording contracts, electronics, scholarships, and even medical cover. Season 6, the final season of Tusker Project Fame, was also different. For the first time ever, music groups up to 3 members were allowed to compete alongside solo artists. And that's when we got Amos and Josh, a duo that had everything it took to win the competition. People expected them to win Season 6, but that didn't happen. Instead, Hope Irakoze from Burundi came out on top, making history as the first Burundian winner. Other top finalists included Daisy from Uganda and Hisia from Tanzania. By this time, TPF was bigger than ever, with EABL investing about $350 million into this season. And let's not forget the hosts. They were just as iconic as the contestants. There was Gaetano Kagwa, Sheila Mwanyiga, Dr. Mitch Egwang, and Joy Muthengi. But the real icon was a judge, Judge Ian Mbugua. His brutal honesty and no-nonsense attitude made him one of the most feared and loved figures on the show. And yeah, we'll talk about him more in a bit. In Season 6, TPF was still the biggest reality show in East Africa. But after this season, it disappeared. Just like that. So what really happened? Well, a few major factors led to its downfall, and probably the biggest one, the Kenyan government. Yes, the government. In 2010, there was something called the Mutudo laws. The government announced plans to restrict alcohol sales, advertising, and consumption times. The goal was to protect children from exposure to alcohol marketing. Sounds like a good idea, right? Well, here's the problem. TPF wasn't just a music competition, it was a marketing machine. The whole purpose of the show was to boost sales of Tusker beer, a brand owned by EABL. So when the Kenyan government passed the Mutudo laws, alcohol advertising got severely affected. Alcohol ads on television were banned during certain hours, and heavy restrictions put on sponsorships in entertainment and sports. That meant TPF could no longer run as a marketing platform for the beer, and without that financial support, the show's budget collapsed. EABL pulled out, and just like that, TPF was done. EABL then launched a new reality show called Tusker Twende Kazi, where 25 teams, each consisting of a celebrity and a fan, traveled across 13 countries in 50 days to deliver a single bottle of Tusker beer from Nairobi to London. And just like that, that was the end of TPF. And there are more reasons why TPF disappeared. When TPF first aired back in 2006, it was one of the only ways to discover new artists. But by the time season 6 ended in 2013, everything had changed. YouTube, Facebook, and streaming services took over. Fans also could find new talent instantly, without waiting for weekly episodes. And also, singing competitions started feeling outdated. TPF also needed massive funding every season, contestants' accommodations, judges' salaries, live performances, and high-end stage production. Running that show was too expensive. Now, let's talk about something a little more controversial. Some fans believe that the producers intentionally kept fan-favorite contestants on the show longer than expected. Not necessarily based on talent, but for the sake of television ratings. And if there's one contestant who had people suspicious, it was Hemedi from Tanzania in season 2. Now, Hemedi wasn't the best singer.
The light is gleaming and the road is too.
But he had the looks, the drama, and the entertainment factor. And most importantly, he had love scandals inside the academy, which, if you know anything about reality television, is exactly the kind of thing that keeps people glued to their screens. Week after week, better vocalists were being eliminated, but somehow, Hemedi kept surviving. Some viewers began to question the show, accusing the producers and even the judges of giving Hemedi a special treatment. And of course, TPF denied all the allegations. The judges were also criticized. Well, actually, it was mostly one judge, Ian Bugwa. This man was ruthless. He didn't just critique contestants, he demolished the contestants.
Go ahead.
Afrika zima inapenda twisti. Afrika zima inapenda twisti. Hata sisi wanyama wa msituni.
Stop. You spoiled it by opening your mouth. Mine's a big no.
Now, some people loved his honesty, but a lot of Kenyans hated it. At one point, it felt like he was unfairly targeting Kenyan contestants, especially Ngangalito from season 3. In 2016, Jajian finally addressed the backlash. He said that his harsh words were intentional, not because he was mean, but because the industry is brutal, the music industry. If these artists wanted to make it, they needed tough love.
The music industry is tough. And these guys, when they come in, they are completely green. And they think they're going to come out into the world and have everything rosy. Oh no.
Plus, the show needed drama, and that if it was too nice, the show would be boring.
Besides, it's reality, it's TV. I know I could use kinder words, but it wouldn't be nice for television. It wouldn't.
Okay, and honestly, he had a point. Without Ian, TPF wouldn't have the same level of tension and drama that kept us, the people, watching or coming back every week. On the flip side, the other judges like Juliana Kanyamoji were the complete opposite. She was firm, but also very kind. Now, here's where things get really disappointing. A lot of winners walked away with huge prizes, record deals, and the promise of a music career. But in reality, most of them were left to struggle on their own. Let's start with Valerie Kimani from season 1. She was promised an album with Gallo Records, one of Africa's biggest record labels. Sounds great, right? Well, 8 months passed and no album dropped. It eventually dropped, but by the time that album dropped, it was called by Sikeli. The hype was already gone. People had moved on, and that delay completely killed the momentum. The album flopped commercially, and just like that, her music career never really took off. Then there is season 3 winner, Alpha from Rwanda, who revealed that TPF left him to fend for himself after his victory. Instead of being guided into stardom, he felt abandoned. His post-TPF career never took off as expected, and a big part of the problem, management issues. He said, "The sponsor makes a lot of money from the Project Fame music competition, but it doesn't support the winners in return. Most of the former winners are still struggling to make a name in the music industry and chasing the recording deal, which is supposed to be included in the package that is given to the winner of the competition." And Alpha wasn't the only one. Other winners like Esther Mugizi and Hilary Davis also struggled. Instead of record deals and hit songs, they ended up battling record labels and slowly disappearing from the spotlight. TPF promised exposure and life-changing prizes, but the transition from the reality show winner to a successful artist was way harder than expected. And after watching multiple winners struggle to stay relevant, the fans even began losing faith in the competition. But even though TPF was eventually cancelled, it still left a massive impact on East African music. For many contestants, this was their first real shot at fame. They got training, mentorship, and a huge audience watching them every week. And while not all winners became stars, some actually did well.
Angalau ungeniambia eti unakam nitulize ham.
So yeah, TPF didn't completely fail. Beyond individual careers, TPF changed the game for music production and live performances in East Africa. It pushed artists to step up their craft, and by bringing together contestants from different countries, it fostered regional collaborations, something we still see today. Even though TPF is gone, new platforms have taken over. There's a show called Bongo Star Search in Tanzania, which is still running, giving upcoming artists a shot. But let's be real, in 2025, Kenyan artists don't even need a show like TPF anymore. Let's take Kopa Gikon's song, Kalenda ya Mungu for example. It's one of the biggest songs right now, all thanks to TikTok. These days, you don't need an award show, or television, radio, a record label, or even have insane vocals to go viral. Just join TikTok, use AI, and boom, you're famous. TikTok and YouTube have changed the game. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe is very important, and drop a comment below. What do you remember the most about the legendary Tusker Project Fame?